Hello, this is Pico52 here to explain what Minecraft Dominion is and how it can be played. Dominion is a plugin to be used with CraftBucket to allow players to create settlements that actually produce and store tangible goods, and to use these goods to produce NPC units for the intentions of capturing or controlling the world from other players. So what you see here is a settlement that I created called Concorum, and a simple command of p/info concorum brings that up. So we can also look at what is inside of Concorum. And here's all the resources that I have. So what I mean by producing and storing tangible goods is that the players will build a settlement as per usual in Minecraft, but this time they have the guidelines as outlined by either the plugin page or the administrator of the server. For example, I will show you really quick right here. Buildings. And this is the main website that you will find Dominion, and we have outlined all the buildings that can be built, which this can be added to later by any administrator. Like for example, how do you build an armory? This is what an armory is, what it requires, and what it will give. So in game, when you build one, it might look something similar to this. So this is actually the mason, but you'll have different requirements. And once those requirements are filled, you can request a building to be added to your database. So let's check out the production of this city. Just for testing purposes, I do not have this set up entirely, but there's like the wealth. I'm losing a whole lot of money right now. Losing some food because I don't have enough food being produced, and I'm not really producing anything except for 64 iron. So now we can check the employment of Concorum. When you have a population and you have buildings, you have to employ these buildings. So this, for example, shows who's working where, how many, and what it's producing, and thus we have that. And each hour, or shorter, depending on if the administrator changes it, can produce these resources in real time. So you can say build a mine, and then go off and do something in real life, and come back, and suddenly you have a bunch of resources. And those resources can be withdrawn. Iron ingot 24. Boom. So you can also deposit them. 24. And it will be stored again into the settlement. Now this means that you can do item-based trade, you can build things based on that, and speaking of building things, you can create units. So here's a list my unit, and all the commands are shortened for simplicity. So I have 4 units here, 3 archers and a caravel, and there's their locations currently. The units are only shown in text, but in future development I may be able to put them into the game. I know that's very common. Everyone always expects, hey, this should be put in the game, that you can see them. That's not done yet, but it will be done at some point. I do also want to make this game work with the Dynmap program, so that you can see these icons on Dynmap. And if you don't know what Dynmap is, I'll put a link at the bottom in the description where you can check it out. So let's see. Now this game is sort of like on the lines of survival and creative mode, but the issue with creative mode is you often don't get the feeling that you're really doing anything. Like it doesn't belong to you because you didn't mine those resources. Well, now you're building something that's producing those resources, so it really feels like an accomplishment, but you're not spending hour after hour mining something repeatedly as you would in survival mode. Um, so there's other things that you can do besides units. You can also use spells. Let's do data spell. Now you can check out the data for each different kind of thing, like units, spells, biomes, everything, by doing this kind of command. And here we go, we have all of the spells and what they do right here. So Magic Shield gives a defensive bonus, and it's strength of 1, which as you play, you'll understand what strength means. It lasts for 12 game ticks, and it costs 60 mana. And they're color-coded, so green is buffs, and red is curses, and curses are anything that you want to do to an enemy, or a friend if you're that kind of person. Hope you don't do it that way, but you could. And then there's utilities that like create resources, change the weather, change its terrain, produce fake units. You might have seen when I did the list my units, there's a fake unit, ID number 243. That's to put like a decoy, sort of, that other players will see, but they won't know they're fake, not unless they cast something to figure out it's fake. So there's a ton of spells, and this is my Spire, for example, that produces these spells. It requires, you know, a portal up top and some books with the, yeah, well, I guess this one's not finished, but it's supposed to require an enchanting table per level. So there's different levels of these buildings. So like I have this home right here. Well, it's more of an apartment complex, really. And there's, well, at least 25 rooms in here. I see on the sign I have 25. So instead of saying like, oh, I'm going to build 25 homes, which could be obnoxious, you just say I have a home that's level 25, and then bam, that is this entire home. So we also have the configuration files. As I explained before, the administrator has a lot of control over what you can do, and they have control over the units, the buildings, the general game mechanics. So if you ever say like, oh hey, archers are overpowered, they're way too fast, I could be like, bam, 10 speed instead of 11. That's a huge nerf, I guess. I don't know, but you can do it, and you could change how much they consume, what it requires. Like, do they require bows and arrows? You can change all of that very easily. You can even add in new units. Like you might want to just like copy paste something and then say, you know, change the name. Make sure though that if you're using YML, that you have the right number of spaces, because that could really ruin things. So like maybe you'll change this from a character to a boat. It's just called a boat. And then it's still C-type. You know what? No, it's not even C-type. This is a land boat. It's crazy. It's really like super fast, and mega fast. And you can do that. You can just put in whatever you want. There's other configurations. Biomes. Where you place your settlements gives you different biome like benefits. So if you're in the plains, you're going to produce food really well, but you're also going to have a penalty of defense because it's really easy to charge into an open land. So every biome kind of determines how the player is going to play, and you can change the benefits of and penalties of these. So everything's here, all of the configurations. You will have power for everything, which is great. Now, Dominion is also built to work with virtually any other plugin. So administrators will not have to worry about whether their currently implemented plugins work or not. It should. And I would even recommend using things like RPG kind of add-ons or land protection Like I run my server with Townie. And though we're considered to be in beta, the development will continue as popularity rises. And to see what is being developed, you can go to the Bukkit website for Dominion, and you can just scroll down and see Founding Pillars of Development. It'll explain what I'm working on, and then a little bit more detail. Hey, you can see YouTube videos are in progress right now as we speak. I'm creating the video now. So this is updated quite often, and you can make comments down below, and as you can see I respond to pretty much every comment. Also there's the forums, which no one's been using yet, but that will change soon. You can recommend things and put in bug reports, and these are very serious because I am only really a one-man team, basically, so I will be checking these quite often. You can also put up your current server if you wish for other people to know. If it's a public server, that you can put it right here and everyone will see it. Also, like me on Facebook, like Dominion it is, and right here you'll find that link, and you can follow for any updates. And on top of that, for anyone that does development, you can actually see the source code. It is open right here, open source. You can see all of the files, and you can check the updates. So if you really feel like going through this 1,467 editions, you can. And so like this is the latest update. But that's if you're into the code. So that's all I have for today. Please look forward to new videos for tutorials on how to use Dominion, and thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy Dominion.